Good morning, friends. Today I'm starting out the video out here by the shed. I've decided it's time for me to go through a bunch of the decor and stuff I have. I've been collecting things, and since we have a smaller house, I've essentially just been having the mindset that I'm going to hang on to a few things, the things that I like, and then there's other things I've been hanging on to that I thought, well, maybe I'll use this in the future, but it's getting to the point where stuff's accumulating a lot in here, like household decor stuff. So I'm like, it's just time to clean that out, declutter that. So as I go through it, I'm going to be looking at, there's going to be things I'm going to keep, like pictures or things like that that are more important. And then when it comes to a lot of the extra fluff and I don't know, items, I'm going to try to go through those a little bit more strategically, kind of cut through them a little bit like sharper than before, because it's just time to clear things out. There's always cool things you come across, and I don't want to be able to not pick up some of those fun things because I feel like I have an overload of stuff at home. So that's what we're going to do right now. So as I sort through it, I'm going to be essentially really cutting down. You know, last weekend we almost did a garage sale, but we had other things that we needed to focus on, and so, but in the days leading up to the garage sale, as I was going through the house, I was looking at stuff and being like, if I could make a few dollars on this, would I get rid of it? Absolutely. There were a lot of things I was like, you know, we could just let this go. Yeah, why not? And then I felt so much better not having as many things around the house. So that's why today I was like, let's go through the decorations and stuff and get it into the house, get it divided up, and just really try to cut through it. So if you want to see what I'm getting rid of and keeping, hang around and I'll show you what we do. I'm hoping to kind of redecorate some of the areas in the house. We'll see what happens. I keep having moments today where I'm like, let's get out and let's work, and then the next moment I'm like, so anyways, let's see what we can do today. This might turn into like a 2-day video if I can't get it done, if I run out of energy, or, you know, just never know what's gonna happen, especially with 2 little kids. Anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. My name's Krista, I live in the desert, and we have 2 kids, about 2.5 and under, and then pregnant with our 3rd, so yeah, that's why these days it's like kind of hit and miss with my energy levels and that kind of thing, but let's get going. I thought it was about time to do something a little bit different. I had been thinking about the decorations and stuff and how I just wanted to go through them, and I know it's been a little bit since I actually did a decorating video, just because I haven't redecorated the house in a while. What do you guys like? Do you decorate periodically throughout the year? I'm guessing most of you do, or are you the type that just leave things in your house and change them every once in a while on a whim or something? I know when I got to the end of my last pregnancy, I didn't have much energy, and I actually relied on my mom and siblings to help a little bit because there were some things I wanted to switch up, but you know, I was on bed rest unexpectedly for a while there, so I didn't have the chance to do much myself, which it's kind of hard to direct someone else to decorate when you're not even sure exactly how you want things, but I figured, hey, well, I have a little bit of energy, let's go ahead and get this done. About a year ago, we had actually talked about moving. We listed our house, and I went through and boxed a lot of things up. It was kind of a crazy time because we almost sold our house, actually. There was a contract on the house, and then the guy ended up not exactly following through on his word, and there were a couple things where it was like, okay, we're getting down to the wire. There were some challenges, and we just decided to stay. So anyway, some of these boxes that I've got were things I had packed away, and I hadn't looked at them since, well, about a year ago. So I've been thinking about how our house didn't have very many pictures in it, and how it would be nice to kind of personalize things a little bit. So it was fun going through and discovering different pictures I had and decorations that I had forgotten about. Some of these things I've kept on hand, thinking of a nursery and stuff like that. So hopefully here, maybe in the next couple months, we'll have something that could work as a nursery. Well, I mean, it won't entirely be like that because the older kids will be in it, but still, it'll be the kids' room. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to being able to decorate for that. So there were some things like that picture frame with Jesus holding the little lamb, which I'm excited to put up in that room. As I alluded to earlier in this video, I wasn't sure how this would come together, and actually it took like 2 days, maybe 3 days. there was a weekend in between, so it was kind of killing me. I had boxes of decorations sitting out for a couple days, and that was like, oh, it's kind of annoying to always be walking around stuff. But finally I was able to get back at it. Actually, I started out by potting a plant. I've had some starts growing, and I've slowly over time been trying to grow my plant collection. Actually, believe it or not, the other day I told my husband that I feel like we have enough plants. I made some comment about that, and he was like, oh, I thought I'd never hear you say that. So that was pretty funny. But we do have a good number of plants, and so I was like, the starts that I had rooting and stuff, it was time to get them put in water. So that's what I was trying to get done. I pulled down one of my hanging plants because it was looking a little thin. I know some people say you can just stuff in fake stuff. You can stuff in fake plants, but I decided to get rid of the fake plants and just go ahead and fill in with the starts that thankfully were ready to put in. One thing I've thought a bunch about are the roses that we have on our property. We have some beautiful, beautiful, just massive roses. And so whenever we talk about moving or something, I'm always like, I want to get some starts from those. So if you guys have any suggestions, tips on how to get rose starts, or how to just take pieces of those with you and get them rooting, let me know. I've tried rooting powder, that didn't really work. I've tried cutting off sections and putting them in water. That didn't work. So I don't know if you have any tried and true methods. Do let me know, because who knows when we're going to move, but Lord willing, in the next couple years we'll go, and I definitely want to take some starts from some of the rose bushes. Okay, I was very much ready to clean these plant hangers. I brought them back from Alberta, from my grandma's house. That was a couple of plant hangers were some of the things that I brought back with me. So I was excited about them. She had them kind of in the kitchen, like to the side of the kitchen. So they definitely needed a cleaning. I don't know how long they've been hanging up, but I just used some vinegar and Dawn dish soap, and then I put them in there. You can kind of see the dust falling off of some of them. I would have brought the plants back, but I don't think you can bring rooted plants back into the US. So we left those behind, and I just got the plant hangers. These are the real, they're not like remade ones. They're pretty old. And anyways, then I just put it in the water and let it soak for a bit. Later came back and kind of scrubbed some of the areas where I saw there had been some grime and stuff. But if you look at the water, it looks pretty nasty. I don't know how much of that was from the wooden beads. Most of it was probably from the nylon material. It's kind of funny because I don't see myself as a sentimental person, but sometimes when it comes to things like antiques, things that belong to my family members, or I guess you could say heirlooms, those to me are, I don't know, there's something really special about them. I think just because they represent the person that used to own them, and so whenever I think of them, it reminds me of those family members. So in some ways, I am not the kind of person to keep, say, a hospital bracelet, or I don't know, a rose. Like, I didn't keep any flowers from our wedding, or we didn't keep like the cake or stuff like that, where some people will throw the cake in the freezer and eat it in like 25 years or whatever. I'm not that kind of person, but when it comes to more of these items that are like non-replaceable, these antique items, I was like, those to me are pretty special. So it was neat to be able to bring a little bit of something home from her house. After rinsing them, I took them outside to dry out in the sunshine. I'm hoping to put them up soon. I didn't get them up, as you'll see in this video. I don't have any footage of it, but we had to get some hooks. My husband wanted to make sure we had some big hooks for hanging them and not just putting them in this drywall in the ceiling, just because we don't want them falling down. So anyways, he had to get a big hook, and then hopefully before too long we can put them up and I can show you guys where we put them. So getting back to decorating, I will say there's some moments where I have tons of inspiration and I know exactly what I'm doing, but this was not one of them. This is really being genuine here. I was like, it was more case where I wanted to get it done and I was tired of the boxes sitting out, and so I was like, let's just do this and kind of play with stuff and see how things go. So this lamp actually I just put on the piano. I got that from my family as well. It was my great-great-great-grandfather's. Or was it great-great-grandfather's? I can't remember. Anyways, I was able to bring that one back, and that was pretty cool. And it had an incredibly long cord, if you didn't notice that. Anyways, I just went around and started out by removing everything. This is kind of the process by which I go through, which I just remove everything and then slowly start putting things back. It was kind of fun to do this because different things reminded me of different people. Like that large doily reminded me of a lady from a church that we went to before we got married. She gave it to me as I think it was a bridal shower gift, which was really thoughtful. I've used it a lot actually. And anyways, then I just went and started layering stuff, moving stuff around. A lot of it's fiddling and just messing with it because sometimes you think something might work, but until you go and do it, you're not really sure. And then you do it and you're like, actually, nope, that doesn't work. I think the piano may have come together the fastest, that section. Sometimes I never know what to do with this storage container. It's something where it's kind of big and it's like, what should I put on it? What should we do with it? Anyways, it's right under our heat pump. It's right under our mini split too, so there's not a lot of wall space above it. So it kind of just ends up being a corner fixture, and then I try to think like, what can I put on it that looks cute? This stool that we have on there, it's upside down, but actually it's really tippy and it's really hard to use to stand on because it's pretty tippy. But I thought it was the cutest thing, so I ended up flipping it upside down and putting the books with it and stuff, and I think it looks really cute actually. So this darker plant with the darker leaves, we actually got this like 3 years ago from a friend. When we first got married, we went to their house, and I saw her plants and I was like, hey, can I have a snip from one of yours? And so she gave me one. So this has been growing for about 3 years. I have cut off chunks to start new growth, which right now there's mostly one stem coming out of it, but I'm working on helping a couple more strands or a couple more branches coming off of it. Anyways, this is the final product. I mean, I'm not like 100% happy with it, but I feel like it's a good place to stop and leave things for the next couple months. And then that way, I feel like there's been a bit of a change in the house, but it's not like things are left in shambles, if that makes sense. If you can't tell, I have a thing for old books, especially ones I got from family, stuff like that. Finally, I was able to start putting stuff away. We have a lot of different, signs, and I had a lot of copper plates where I decided let's go ahead and put those away for now and swap things out. It was actually really funny. I had somebody, they were like, oh, where'd you get these copper plates? And I was like, oh, I got them from my mother-in-law, from family from the auction. And they were like, oh. And I was like, yeah, they've been on the walls for a couple months. They were like, oh. It was pretty funny. Lastly, I thought I would finish up by showing you a recipe that I tried recently. When we were traveling, we visited some friends in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and she made this dinner. It's like a Filipino taco recipe is what it's called. It's not tacos at all in the sense that we think in like Mexican terms or whatever, because it's Filipino. But anyways, it was very, very delicious. It's basically, you do a pot of rice and diced carrots and salt, and then you cook that up in the Instapot. I will say first, I took the rice water that I rinsed off of the rice and used that to water the plants, which I heard of a lady in Japan doing that. She does that in her cooking videos, and I was like, oh, that's really smart. That's the first rinse water. The second she throws out, and then the third, no. I think the first 2 washes she puts in the fridge and keeps, and then then by that time usually the water's clear or something like that, so then she can just, you don't have to keep rinsing it. But anyways, back to the carrots. I just chopped them up, tried to dice them up. If I had a proper attachment for my Cuisinart, I would have used that, but we didn't need a huge portion since there's only, 4 of us eating, and 2 of the kids eat minuscule little portions. So we didn't need a lot of that. For the ground beef, it's super, super simple. You essentially do like taco meat, where you just cook the meat up and add taco seasoning. Once I got going, I realized I forgot I needed to have some baked beans, and I don't really buy the canned baked beans. That's not something I ever think to purchase. I don't know, I'd rather make it from scratch. But since I hadn't prepared ahead of time and hadn't cooked beans, I just used some canned beans. And then I actually messed the recipe up, because she was gonna have you use dried beans and then put it in the Instapot and let it go for 30 minutes. But it was almost supper time, and I was like, I better get moving. So I ended up putting the full amount of water in without realizing that was the amount that you would soak the dry beans in. Anyhow, I'll link the recipe here in the description box. Also, she called for maple syrup, the sugar-free maple syrup, which I didn't have, but I just used a bit of maple extract. And then, of course, you used your sweetener and your molasses and all that stuff. So it turned out pretty tasty. I used a homemade taco seasoning. I really prefer that over buying powdered mixes. If you just make a giant batch of it, then it lasts months, like a long time, just because we don't have taco meat a ton. And I ideally should probably have sauteed the onions first, but yeah, I just basically was given the basics of the recipe. It was like, here you go. So I was like, okay, I think I can do that. But I didn't really think that went through too much. I did add liquid from the baked beans to it, and in the end I ended up just mixing it all together, and it was pretty good. My husband thought it wasn't quite as runny as the dish that our friends had served. It wasn't quite as saucy, but overall he liked it, and my kids weren't too sure about it, but I think they're kind of getting better at, trying new things. So anyways, it made for a really delicious crossover. I added some tomatoes and some mozzarella cheese to it. And that was our dinner for the night. Let me know what you guys enjoyed seeing in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in another video next week. We'll see ya. Bye.